Thank you, Mr. President. Across the country, we are witnessing one of the worst waves of anti-Semitism that we have ever seen in our nation's history. I appreciate that my colleague from Oklahoma spoke previously to this. Now, one of the things that we have learned is a little bit about the leading perpetrators of these protests that are taking place. What we have found is that far-left activists, including college students at some of the most prestigious universities, are involved in these activities. We've all seen the pro-Hamas demonstrators that are harassing and intimidating Jewish students. They're blocking them from attending class or even from accessing public spaces. And they're doing this with these protests and with these illegal encampments. Here are some examples of what we have had reported to us and what we have seen from individuals that are walking through these encampments with their cell phones. At Columbia University, activists chanted, "We are Hamas," and "Long live Hamas." At George Washington University, one pro-Hamas demonstrator walked around campus with a sign calling for a final solution against the Jewish people. We've seen activists hand out flyers calling for death to America and death to Israeli real estate. And at schools like Princeton, students have waved the flag of terror groups, including the flag of Hezbollah. One thing should be obvious. The anti-Israel protests on campuses across this country are hotbeds for terrorist sympathizers and for anti-Jewish hatred. Never did I think I would see this in the United States of America. In fact, some of these college groups that are out protesting, including at Columbia, have allegedly held events with the terrorist organization Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine. These demonstrations have absolutely no place in America, and Tennesseans are telling me these demonstrations have no place in our great state of Tennessee. But instead of cracking down on these activists and the students who are out there peddling anti-Semitism and are glorifying terrorism, many schools are beginning to bow to their demands. I find this abhorrent and disgusting. In negotiations with pro-Hamas demonstrators, Northwestern University agreed to offer coveted faculty positions to Palestinian academics and set aside full ride scholarships for Palestinian students. To appease its pro-Hamas students, Brown University last week agreed to hold a vote on divesting from Israel. After negotiating with pro-Hamas activists for weeks, Columbia University has canceled its commencement ceremony. We can only bring an end to this disturbing illegal behavior when there are actual consequences. College students who promote terrorism on behalf of Hamas should be added to the TSA no-fly list, and we should deport foreign students on visas who support Hamas, a U.S.-designated terror organization. And universities that allow anti-Semitism on their campuses should be defunded. The Stop Anti-Semitism on College Campuses Act, which I introduced alongside Senator Tim Scott, would ensure that that happens. But instead of standing up for Jewish students, President Biden has drawn, unfortunately, a moral equivalence between pro-Hamas activists and pro-Israel Americans. When asked about the anti-Semitic demonstrations last month, the president said, and I quote, "He condemns those who don't understand what's going on with the Palestinians," end quote. At the same time, the president has focused on pushing billions in new illegal student loan forgiveness that could very well benefit the students who are out leading these demonstrations. So that is why I have joined my Senate Republican colleagues in introducing the No Bailouts for Campus Criminals Act, which would make any person who is convicted of a state or federal offense in connection with a campus protest ineligible for any federal student loan forgiveness. The president is also reportedly looking to welcome Gazans to America as refugees. According to a recent poll, 71% of Gazans said they supported Hamas' horrific October 7th attack on Israeli civilians. 71% of Gazans said they supported Hamas's horrific attack on October 7th. More than 300 individuals on the terror watch list have entered our country under President Biden, but for some reason, this administration thinks that they can vet Gazans who elected Hamas as their government, who support the terrorist attack. They think they can properly vet them and bring them into this country? Have they not asked Egypt, Jordan, other countries in the region why they will not take these Palestinian refugees? I think it would be instructive. And our country cannot afford more failed leadership and not knowing who is coming into this country who may wish us harm. We would like to see the president rescind this and review his priorities and make it his priority to protect the American people. I yield the floor and note the absence of a quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Baldwin.